Hey guys, it's Sam again. In this new year of 2020, Megan and I have decided that it would be good to have some more videos for you guys. I know those on the pick side have enjoyed them, different method of learning, and we're going to incorporate some interdisciplinary teams to provide you with the more education that you're asking for. So if you guys have any topics that you feel like need to be covered or that you would like to see, just let Megan or I know. For today, I'm going to just touch on DKA again. I know it's a frequent source of confusion, so I feel like just, keep repeating that kind of so that everyone has an idea of what to do. So my Panopto is not working today. I apologize. So I'm using my phone. So just bear with me here. I'm going to turn this around and we'll get to work here. Okay. So there you go. So this is a simulated chart that I have put some orders in here. So the first thing I want to talk about, which I get questions about frequently, is ketone sticks. So people often don't know how to put them in. So I just want to cover that real quick. Down here in this More tab over here, I'm going to click on that. When you come up here to enter edit results, whoops, clicked on the wrong thing. Here we go. See if you can see that here. So here's our order for ketones, and this is what it will come up like. So what I normally do is just type in my name, then I'd put the collection date is today, time is now, and again for the technician name I would just put my own name. Down here in the value, so you need to fill in anything that has a red stop sign. Let's say this kid's ketones are moderate. And then over here, on the side over here, you're just going to fill in the date, time again, and then make sure you change this status to final result. Not preliminary or in process, because then it will not show up in your labs. So when you do that, then click accept. And then what will happen is it will show up within your labs. So that's really nice because then everybody can see it. So I'll show you that here real quick. And there's our ketones. So that'll show up for everyone to see. So it's really, really important that we put those in there just so that everyone's aware of what they are. So let's kind of go over the process of transitioning. The first thing, you want to make sure you have all your supplies at the bedside. And I'll talk about transitioning to a pump here in a little bit. Next, you want to have the patient order food, which is going to make you the best nurse in the world. But have the patient order food. The Lantus is given at any point. So as soon as it comes up, just give it. We have had some issues where they've put it in the fridge and we didn't know it was in there, so just always make sure you check the fridge. They will bring it up. So those are a couple little tidbits. So after you order food, you give your Lantus, then the food comes up. So when the food comes up, you're going to check an AccuCheck before they eat. You're going to let them eat 20 to 30 minutes. Really, we'd like to keep it within 20 minutes, but you're going to calculate the carbohydrates that they ate. Then you're going to figure out how you get your insulin. So let me just talk about that real quick. Okay, so on the board here I wrote this patient's numbers. So let's say the patient's blood sugar was 170. So the goal is 150, which I have right here. So you're going to take your blood sugar that you have now minus your goal, so 170 minus 150, divided by 50. 50 is your correction factor. So whenever you see your hypoglycemia correction factor, that's what that's going to be. So you do that calculation, it comes out to 0.4 units. Then you have to add for your carbohydrates that they ate. So let's just say, for example, this patient ate 126 grams of carbs. The carb ratio that is in the order is 15. So you're going to take 126 divided by 15, which gives you 8.4 units. You don't want to round these at this point. You want to just add them together, 8.8 units, and we normally round to the nearest half unit, which is going to give us 9 units. So, done that calculation, let's go into the actual MAR, and let me kind of show you this cool feature that Epic has put in. So let's act like I'm gonna give this insulin, and I'm just gonna put barcode unreadable just because it's not an actual patient. So here's the order, as you can see. Here is this nice triple check I was telling you about. So this is really, really cool, and it's been implemented in the past, I want to say it's been about 6 months that it's been active. So here we're going to put our blood sugar, which was 170. A lot of times the urine ketone doesn't matter, but we'll put moderate. Let's say this patient's eating breakfast. His carb intake, remember, was 126 grams. And as you see down here, your glucose correction was 0.4, which is what we got. And our carbohydrate dose was 8.4. Add those together, it was 8.8, and we rounded to 9. So that's kind of your triple check to show you, okay, like I did do this math correctly. This does not serve as your double check. You need to have an independent double check with another person that's doing all those calculations. So our dose up here is 0 to 30 units. So we're going to replace that with 9. I do want to caution you, if you ever have an order where, say the dose is 0 to, say in this case, it was 0 to 8 units, and we got 9. I would really, really caution you to call. You know, this has happened before. We're like, no, we did all the calculations correctly. Maybe they just put the dose in wrong. You know, it's a titratable dose. It'll be fine. And it's been an incorrect dosage. So I would just really, really caution you. If anything seems off, just call. If it seems like too large of a dose for that patient, just call. And another thing I like to tell people, make sure that, you know, the resident or the attending that you're talking to has called endocrinology, because ultimately they're the ones that are making these decisions. So even if, you know, an attending's telling you, no, do it, I know it's right, you know, maybe just ask them, can you please call endocrinology and make sure that that's correct. I just want to make sure I'm giving the correct dosage. So those are a couple of things I would caution you with. Now, with a pump, people get really out of sorts with a pump, but it's really not much different. So I did not put a pump order in here, but what it's going to say is subcutaneous insulin instead of this Humalog injection. So sometimes endocrine will have you transition to a pump with an injection the first time. So they'll have you do a normal transition with, you know, an injection and not use the pump for the first part of the transition. If the kid's a known diabetic and they've been on a pump for a while, they're most likely going to just transition straight to the pump. So what that looks like is, and a lot of times I defer to the parents because they're really, really good at using the pump. They know how to use it. Endocrine will come and check the pump. So that's the first step, is making sure that you have all the supplies you need. You have a new needle, a new site that they're going to use. You have enough insulin in the pump. So just checking with parents or child, and making sure that they have all the supplies that they need is really, really important. After that, we are going to start the basal dose. So basically what the basal dose is it's like our Lantus. So some people get kind of nervous starting the basal dose on the pump, but it's basically the same thing as when the Lantus comes up, we give it. So we just, as soon as we know we're transitioning, we put the pump on, we start the basal dose. Then you're going to do the same calculations. You're going to, add up your carbohydrates, figure out your carb ratio, divide that, figure out how many units of insulin, and, kind of talk with the parent and say, okay, we're going to give 9 units. Is that what you got? Kind of a thing. And then usually what I'll do is just write it in the MAR with a comment like parent delivered 9 units, such and such. So the next big thing with a pump or with Humalog injections, after you give the Humalog, or you give them a dose of the pump, that you turn the dextrose and insulin off 30 minutes later. You don't want to turn the dextrose off prior to the insulin because then they're going to drop. I just always tell people turn them off at the same time. I've had questions, do we keep the saline fluids on? It's really up to the physician. Sometimes they want them to stay on, sometimes they don't. Probably depends on how they're drinking as well, because some kids can have kind of a poor appetite. So I kind of leave that up to the kid. So those were some things I wanted to talk about. Another thing is just always call. If you ever think that something looks weird, just call. If, a resident orders something and it looks wrong, call. I know sometimes it's tedious and time consuming, and maybe some people might get irritated with you, but really you're protecting your patient and being a good patient advocate. So just always call and never feel bad about that. So if you guys ever have any questions about transitioning, come find me or come find some people in Pitt, because we usually can do it pretty easily. Thanks, guys.